Good morning, good day, and good evening. Welcome back to the show. Today we are doing a solo episode, and I have some, I guess you'd call it good news, interesting news. I finally got my fiber connection actually working. It has been a long journey to get here. You've probably seen I've done a bunch of clips on this channel. I've talked about it a ton of times in this podcast. Finally, the connection is actually working. Now, it was installed, the fiber to the house installed, I think, 4 months ago. We originally got stuff started 6 or so months ago. Got it installed back then. Maybe 3. Whatever. It was installed a couple of months ago. And we've had the modem sitting there for a while, and our ISP hasn't let us actually set up a connection. They've just been saying, hey, you don't actually have this installed yet. And they've sent out multiple people to install the box that is already installed. So it's been a mess. Now, we finally had a technician come out to check what's going on, not just showing up to be like, oh, you know what? The box is installed. I don't know why I'm here. Someone actually checked, was the box installed properly? And here's where it gets fun. So, we've had the fiber connection installed to this house for all this time. And when they install it, they put a box outside that, the fiber from wherever the fiber comes from, comes to the house, connects to this box, the box goes into a modem inside. To that box on the outside of the house the fiber connects to, there's a bunch of ports. I think there's 8 of them. And the people who installed our fiber installed it into port 1. Now, my house and my region is not a port 1 house. It is a port 8 house. I don't know what the ports... I don't know why they have different ports for different regions. I'm sure there's something there. But my house is a port 8 house. So, the people who installed the fiber at my house, they installed it in the wrong port. So all of the equipment we had working perfectly fine. There was literally no issues on that front. Our modem was fine, our router is fine, our cables were fine. No issue, except they installed the fiber wrong. So we've been waiting all this time just for them to realize they fucked up. Now, when they did the installation, I think there was 4 people here when the installation happened. And 3 of them seemed like they had basically no idea what they were doing. So my assumption for what happened there is there was one person and 3 people, one supervisor and 3 people being trained. And I guess they just decided to train at my house. So, yeah. You'd think the person who was in charge would, double check the work and make sure everything's good. But no. So, yeah, that was fun. Now, we swapped over from our old connection, I think it was 50 by 10. It was 100 by 10. Might have been 100 by... Wait, what did we have before? No, it was 100 by 10. We had a 100 by 10 connection before, and now we have a glorious 250 by 20. Now, fiber in Australia, you can't really... with a residential connection, you don't really get that great. Also, they will overcharge you to the fucking moon if you want upload. So, right now, the connection we have is 250 by 20, and we're paying 100 Australian dollars a month. So, 60 US, I guess that would roughly convert to. And if we wanted to go up to 40 upload or 100 upload, they would add $50 or $100 onto the contract. Upload isn't that much more expensive. The reason why they can get away with charging so much for upload is that the regular person doesn't care at all about upload. They just upload some TikToks, they upload some Facebook videos, some images. They're not doing streaming and high bitrate video, things like that. where you do need that upload, but they do download that stuff. And that's why you can usually get like a much better connection on that side. Now, usually when you get a connection, you don't end up getting the full speed of it. It's like, you pay for 250, but in reality, you're gonna get like, I don't know, 170 or so. But last time, I'm not gonna show the IP because just in case IPs don't swap until this goes up. But right now, I'm doing a speed test, and I'm getting I'm getting 242 down. So basically as good as it can pretty much get. Okay, drop down to 230. And then upload side, I'm getting 23 and a half right now. 23 and a half upload, which is that is so fast compared to what I had. Because usually I'd be working with like a 7, which is totally fine. Or maybe like a 10, which was totally fine for streaming. Maybe a little bit too close to the border there. Like, because I do 6,000 kilobits, so you want a bit of buffer room there, but now there's definitely that buffer. And now, if I maybe don't have a game downloaded during a stream, it's not a big deal. Like, I downloaded East Origin, which is about 2 gigabytes. It took about a minute and a half to do that, which is absolutely crazy. Like, I've never had a connection this fast. I would love symmetrical gigabit. And I think you can get it with like a business connection. But residential is not happening. I think I've actually talked about gigabit in Australia, but let's see. Australia, not that one. Australia gigabit. Also, if you can hear my keyboard, I've got a new keyboard. I'll talk about that in a moment. I don't know if you can hear it though. Let's find out. You can't hear my keyboard. Okay, maybe just ignore what I said then. You cannot hear my keyboard, but now you know. Aussie Broadband does I think this is the one. Oh, let me show you how just ridiculous the upload nonsense is. So, where is it? Where are their plans? So this is 250 by 25. This is probably what the normal people would get. This is $130 a month. Now, if you want to get 100 up, they add $80 to the contract. And then the top contract they have for the residential connection doesn't even have the top upload speed. You cannot get like 1,000 by 100 or 1,000 by 250 or anything like that. The top they offer is 1,000 by 50. So if I went up to that plan, like, as a content creator, that is literally downgrading my connection. Because sure, the extra upload is nice, and it's great for the, the regular consumer. But why can I not get 1,000 by, at least 1,000 by 100? There is no reason why you can't offer me at least 1,000 by 100. Maybe there's some, weird nonsense to their back end, but I don't believe there is a reason why they couldn't try to offer me 1,000 by 100. That's dumb. At least say, hey, maybe the gear you have isn't going to support it out of the box. Maybe you need to upgrade your gear. Fair enough. But at least offer it for the people who want to waste their money. Did I not clean this cup? I didn't clean this cup. Give me 1 second. You know what? I'm just gonna leave the tea there. I made the tea in a dirty cup. Now the tea's gonna sit there and not be drank. That's sad. There's I think it's breadcrumbs in there, so I could drink it. That's sad. I'll make myself a cup of tea afterwards and then stop being sad. But yeah, now we have the 250 by 20 connection. I'm very happy about that. I haven't tested it in the context of gaming or anything like that, but I don't see any reason why it would be any less stable. That'll be really weird. FF14 servers. Let's do a ping of the server I'm playing on. ARR status. I've moved over to Aether. Here we go. Let's try that. Ping. Oi. No, the IP is not part of the command. That is basically doing exactly the same as it was before. Okay, so no difference basically in the ping, which is fair. I wouldn't really have expected a difference in that regard. Because I was already sitting on like, because I've run a wide connection as well. I was already sitting on basically as low as your ping is going to get in the context of connecting to servers either somewhere else in the country or on the other side of the world. So now we've got our like what do you call it? We have a modem router combo like most people have. So now the modem is something. So when you have NBN in Australia, they actually install the modem on the wall, and then you'll plug your other devices into that. So now my what previously was my modem router is now acting as a switch and router, I guess. It's not a great switch. It has 4 ports on it. So yeah. Also, it's Wi-Fi and all that fun stuff. I don't use the Wi-Fi for pretty much anything besides my phone. I like having cables, so now I've still got my switch under my bed. It was just a matter of switching the cables over and all that. But one thing we can do now is, I showed this back in my video when I got the Switch. I'm so sad about this tea. I showed this in the video where I got my Switch. I could just fish it out. That's an option. I have a cable running along my entire hallway. Now, this was not good when the modem router combo nonsense was in my housemate's room, because it could just run along down like the hallway and not be a problem. Now, because we've moved that into I think it's called the second dining. There's like this house layout super. So like a dining room, and I think they called it the breakfast room or something on the floor plan. Now that's in the breakfast room. So rather than running directly up the hallway, now it runs directly up the hallway and then turns at that room. So there's just a cable sitting in the middle. What we're planning to do now, and probably going to do this after I record the podcast, is run the cable along the ceiling, which is something we were planning to do ages ago. And once that's done, it's pretty much going to clear it out. It's just going to drop down like in front of my door, and then is pretty much good to go. Assuming we don't break the cable, which would be really bad, because then we'd have to take all the hooks down. And yeah, and they're going to be hooks that you like nail into the ceiling as well. So yeah, should be fine. Should be fine. Either way, it's good to have the new connection, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. Oh, that does remind me, the cable we had connected to the modem that was the fiber modem we had there. So I don't know how this happened, but at some point the Ethernet cable attached, the shielding got slashed. I don't know what slashed it. Whether it was... I don't know what could have slashed it. Because we never have anything sharp over there. It's not like we're vacuuming the floor and the cable could have gotten, like, caught up in that or something like that. I don't know how it got broken. But the Ethernet cable wiring. Here we go. So the inside of an Ethernet cable looks something like... That's a terrible picture. Here? This will work. Actually, this is a really good example. Here we go. So the inside of an Ethernet cable looks something like this. You've got all these twisted pairs and all that fun stuff. Now, due to the way an Ethernet cable works, if some of these lines are broken, the cable will still function. But depending on how the damage occurred, it may drastically reduce your speeds. Turns out, that's what happened with that cable. So it was like a 25-meter cable, like, like a 10-meter cable, something like that. It was a relatively long cable. Plugged it in, and on that cable, we got 50 down and 1 up on the same connection. So clearly, something is wrong with the cable. I didn't do like a deep dive onto the cable itself, but it's possible that something got slashed in there. Now, if I really wanted to, I could just cut the end off the cable and then rewire it, but I just didn't care enough. I've wired Ethernet cables before. It's fiddly. It's not difficult. It's just really annoying. As long as you just get like a cable stripper and your cable crimper and all that fun stuff. It's not difficult. You just put the thing where the thing goes. It's all like color coded and all that fun stuff. So it's pretty straightforward to do. Also, you can just look at guides online. There's one way to do it. So as long as you do the thing in the right way, it'll work. Don't be like me, like when I made the cable where I so the purpose of these little like plastic doohickeys on the end is to strengthen the cable. So you want to have those like you want to have some of the like the regular cable go into the plastic doohickey that holds it. I didn't do that. I stripped off way too much of the cable and had like the wire exposed. So like the internal wire was exposed, which will work. Like it's gonna work just fine. But the purpose of the plastic thing is to make it so when you're a dummy and you yank on the cable, which is something you're going to do, you don't break the cable and like it is a usable cable. I didn't do that, so yeah, that cable. I think that cable lasted for a while. I don't know whatever happened to it. I know I was using it at one point, but I don't know what I ever actually did with it. Yeah. Also, there's like a million videos on YouTube on how to like make an Ethernet cable. So if you really wanted to do so, like you could find out. If you have too much time and not that much money. I don't actually know how much you'll save by doing your own Ethernet cables, actually. Ethernet. Let's go Cat 6, no plug. No. How much is it per meter? No, not Cat 6N plugs. Cat 6. Cable, no connectors, no terminators. I'm just finding made cables. Amazon, show me the thing that I actually want to see. I don't care about the Ethernet, the Ethernet plugs themselves. Oh my fucking god. Okay, maybe somewhere else. Maybe not Amazon. Okay, no, not that one. That's the connectors again. Oh my, show me the... Oh my god. Oh my god. No. Termination. Show me the thing I want to see. Because I know you can just buy it. You can buy it at a fucking hardware store. Why is it not showing me? Bunnings. Bunnings saved my life. Ethernet cable. I know they literally have, like, giant fucking wheels of it. Here. Okay. Thank you. This is solid core Ethernet network cable. It is 100 meters. It is... not showing me a price. Details. Where the fuck's the price? Bunnings, where the fuck's your price? Have I scrolled past it like 10 times? Let's go back. Okay, 30 minutes. $38. What was this one? That was $100. Okay, so it's about a hundred or so, about a bit over $1 a meter if you buy a lot of it. Let's just say $1.50. So $1.50 per meter. And how much is a 20 meter Cat 6 cable is $38. And then connectors you can buy for a couple of cents. Like if you buy a lot of them. That's the only problem with doing your own cables. It only saves you money if you're doing a lot of cables. But I guess if you were doing that, you could probably, like, you could save yourself a good, especially on, like, 50-meter cables, for example, you could save yourself a good, like, you know, maybe 30% on the price if you really wanted, once again, wanted to waste your time. Because it's not difficult, but it is going to take you, especially on your first couple of cables, like, maybe a good, like, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. And whether your time is like worth that much. Like whether it's cheaper to just buy a cable or make your own cable. Because remember, you have to do both sides. So if one side takes you like 15 minutes, you still got the other side to do as well, and that's a little bit of a problem. But it's fun. I did it during my first year networking class. I think it was just called Network Fundamentals. Yeah. I think that was my first week class. I guess they wanted to do something that was interesting and exciting before they started doing networking, because I fucking hate I hate networking so much. So with the Wi-Fi, I guess a Wi-Fi router they call it now. The Wi-Fi router we have, it's like a lot of these really shitty modern locked down one of these devices. So if I bring it like the thing up on like you go to the IP of the device, you cannot actually set anything from the device screen itself, like from if you connect to it from a computer. So the only way the only way to configure it is through the app. That's the only way to do it. I don't know what's wrong with just doing it's fine, have an app there as an option, but don't break the thing that everybody who has any technical knowledge goes to as their default to fix a modem. Like, why? Why do you have to do this to me? Just don't. Like, stop it. Or at least give me any other way to access. I would take just like SSHing into the device. Just give me some way that's not using your stupid app. Because for some things it's fine, but when your app gets in the way of setting things the way that I want to set them, or browsing information that I want to be setting, it's a problem, and I don't like it. But usually I don't have to deal with that stuff. With my home setup, I just really can see my shoe back there. It's just a random one of my work shoes. Usually you just set things up with a home connection and you're good. The extent of my complex networking is plugging in a switch, which I did consider buying another switch for the Wi-Fi router itself, just in case there is a need for having extra ports, because right now 2 of the 4 there's technically only 3 free ports, because one of the ports is taken up by the connection to the modem itself. So it's not exactly a optimal setup if you want to have anything wired. But my housemate doesn't really care about that. The only thing he wanted wired was his desktop, so he didn't really care about the laptop, even though it does have a port on there. And I guess possibly you could do like Ethernet to the PS4 in the lounge room, but nobody plays it anyway. And like when stuff is being played on there, it's not being done online, so it doesn't particularly matter in the first place. But maybe at some point that'll happen. That some point is not now though. I mentioned FF14 before, so I have for a while now been playing on the Oceanic servers. The new they're called Oceanic servers, but they're very much Australia focused. It probably should have been a sea server, a Southeast Asia server, because that would still be good for Australia, but would also be good for Southeast Asia. The problem with the Oceanic servers is nobody's fucking playing on them. Like, FF14 right now is in kind of a lull period where we're between we're like in the middle point between the expansions. We're in the middle point between like big patches, things like that. So the player base just naturally is going to decline during that period. And the problem is that Oceanic didn't have a player base to decline. So when I first joined, it was great because everybody was joining to level their alts and get the free gil and get the free game time. So great during that period. That died out pretty quickly because once you've leveled your ults, hey, there's no reason to stick around with your ult because FF14 you can do everything on the same character. So unless you want to have ults for doing like RP stuff or ERP stuff, generally the ults don't really matter. Or if you're a weird person who wants to experience the story on different characters, I guess. But like, there's not particularly much value in doing that, so most people don't bother. So a lot of people just play on one character, or they'll have just like a very low level character they don't bother doing the story with on other servers just to like, go to house parties and nightclubs and whatever there. So during that, like, probably 3 months after the big rush happened, that's when things started to, like, settle. And it wasn't, like, dead, but it was settled. So you could queue perfectly fine as a healer, as a tank. As a DPS, not so much, but DPS usually struggle in pretty much anything but, like, peak hour times. And that was good for a while. I really enjoyed that. The issue is that didn't last forever. So, especially now that I'm in Stormblood. So the first expansion, A Realm Reborn, it's great because you have a lot of like new players that are experiencing that. And then Heaven's Ward, the second expansion, is also fine. Stormblood, the third expansion, is where you're in that like middle period between the beginning of the game and the end game. And there's not that many people in that middle section, especially on Oceanic. So it got to the point where my daily roulettes, I would play as a healer, and it would take me about 15 minutes to queue, which I just don't want to deal with that. Like, the reason I play healer is for healer privilege. I want instant, just absolutely instant pop queues. If I wanted slightly slower queues, I would play a tank. Tanks usually pop pretty quickly. Healers go very fast because no one wants to play a healer. I actually kind of like healer gameplay, and I like having the entire team's stupidity in my hands, because when healing in FF14, especially on like outside of endgame content, is very easy. So if people are doing things they're supposed to do, especially now playing in a Scholar, which has an auto heal, a lot of the time I don't have to press my heal button. So when people do stupid things, it gives me something to do. I enjoy people being dumb. Like, if you want to pull the entire dungeon, fine, do it. You might die, but you might not. It gives me something to do, though. I at least have to, like, try and see what I can do and keep you alive. So yeah, I play healer because I like my insta-pop queues. I don't know how long it would take to queue as a DPS. I genuinely don't. FF14 doesn't have a distinction between, like, different types of DPS, like your magical DPS, your ranged DPS, your physical DPS. So when they're queuing as DPS, it's just generically DPS. It's different if you do, like, party finder stuff and, like, set up a specific party, but for general pug groups, it doesn't matter. And that's just for my duty stuff. Outside of duty stuff, it got even worse. So I'm doing the Stormblood Alliance raids. I say doing because I'm not really doing them on... Oh, I wasn't really doing them on Oceanic. I've moved now. I did the first one, which is... I forgot what the Alliance raids are called in Stormblood. F14 Stormblood Alliance. What is the first one called? Stormblood. The Royal City of Rabanastra. So I did that one. It took me about 3 hours to queue. I then tried to do the Readerana Lighthouse, and I queued, I think over the 3 or 4 days I did so, maybe 15 hours of queuing. At like a bare minimum, and it's probably more. It was such a fucking mess. I couldn't do so. And then there were the Omega raids, which I'm also trying to do, which also wouldn't pop, like, at all. And the thing with Stormblood and the Omega raids is they're both in the Alliance raid for the Ivolus raids, and then the normal raid roulette for the Omega raids. But the thing with the thing especially on Oceanic, this happens on every server, but especially on this. There is a lot of people who do, I guess, what's being described as an eye-level cheese. So a lot of people don't want to do any of the Alliance raids besides Crystal Tower. Crystal Tower is the first one, and many argue is the easiest. And not just easiest, everybody knows the mechanics for Crystal Tower. Generally, you don't have wipes on that raid. Sometimes you have people who don't understand, like, stand behind the rock when you are at the behemoth. And sometimes you have people who don't exit the giant death circle when they're supposed to exit the giant death circle. But besides those, you're pretty much good. And usually, like, there's a healer or two that can res them, or like a red mage can't res during Crystal Tower, too low level. A summoner can do the res. That's usually fine. But the raids after that, people don't know as well, and sometimes people actually die, especially in the Void Arc. Yeah, Stormblood from what I've seen so far is not really causing an issue. Like, I've not gone into any of the Alliance raids and actually prepared for them. I just wing them. And usually, if you just pay attention to what other people are doing, you can pretty much work it out. Yeah. So, I've wanted to do the Stormblood raids, and I couldn't do them on Oceania. And that was the thing that broke me. I could deal with the 15-minute roulette. I could deal with story dungeons taking 30 minutes to queue on a healer. I could deal with that. I couldn't deal with over, like, 12 hours to queue for a single Stormblood raid. And it was only going to get worse from there, because that was the first tier, and I can't imagine the second tier it took so long. I can't imagine third tier was any better. Same with the Omega raids. I couldn't imagine that any of the Omega raids were going to be at all reasonable to queue. So, I eventually decided I am just going to move over to Aether. I was considering going back to Elemental being on the JP data center, and Aether being on the North American data center. The reason I didn't want to go back to Elemental, there's actually a couple of reasons. Firstly is the time zone. Time zone was a big one. So, if you've never played an MMO, a lot of people like to do their MMO gaming at, like, late at night. So, peak time on JP is, like, 6 p.m. onwards, usually to, like, 1 or so a.m., and the same is true in America as well. The difference is that 6 p.m. is when I wake up. So I wake up at around 8, 9 a.m., depending on what the day is. And pretty much the entire time that I would normally be playing FF14, like anywhere during that period, it's peak. I just play during peak all the time. And then when it's off peak, here's the thing, though. It doesn't even matter that it's peak and off-peak, because off-peak is still double the, like, I think, no, like 5x the party finder, and double the, like, pug duty finder than it is on Oceanic during the peak. So it doesn't even matter. It's still bigger any time of the day. And I think it took me 30 minutes... Maybe 10, 15 minutes. About 15 minutes to queue for the second Stormblood raid on Aether. And, sorry, I was talking about the reasons why I did it, didn't I? Yeah. I'll get back to the raid itself. So time zone's the first one. Second one is the language barrier, because while Elemental is the unofficial English server, like unofficial English data center on the JP data center, there are still a lot of people that are JP players on Elemental. So I would say it's probably majority that's elemental, especially if you start getting outside of Tombari and Kujata, which are the English servers. There's other ones that like are overflow for the overflow, but generally you start getting into more JP stuff there. Now, it's not a big deal for FF14 because it does have the cross-server duty finder and stuff like that. So for like stuff like that, it's good. But you still do have a lot of JP players on Elemental, and that can lead to like communication issues with the more end game content, the high end content that's available. So I ever want to get to the point where I'm doing like ultimates and things like that, which may or may not happen, or like current tier savages, for example, or extremes, things like that. I want to be able to communicate with the people. And while I, am learning Japanese, it's going to be better to just do that in my native language. And that's the thing that's going to happen with America. So you have those. Also, I just wanted to try out a new server culture. So I've only heard from people that don't play the American servers. I have only heard bad things about the American servers. And as someone who's now played there for not too long, like a couple of days, it's been great. Like, maybe it's different in, like, high-end content, but, like, 8th has been a great server. Everyone is just as welcoming as they were over on Oceanic, and even on Elemental, for the most part. Like, you had some exceptions where people just didn't talk. That's the other big thing. The way that people actually interact in the game is completely different on the American servers. So, on JP, and even to much of an extent on Oceanic, which kind of surprised me, but it makes sense considering that a lot of people on Oceanic did come from the JP servers. The public chat, the say chat, whether it's the local area chat, is dead half the time. Maybe someone will say one thing. There will be bots advertising stuff. There might be someone advertising a nightclub. But I'm an ex-RuneScape player, and in RuneScape, the public chat was always full. Like, it didn't matter if you were in Falador doing some smithing. Didn't matter if you're in Varrock, going to the Grand Exchange. Didn't matter if you go to, like, the Gnome Village. Didn't matter if you went to, like, what's the lobster place over the mountain? It's been a long time since I played RuneScape. RuneScape map. Let's have a look. See, I'm now forgetting it. It has been a long time since I've played RuneScape. Tree Gnome Stronghold. Where is my? There's my White Wolf map. Catherby. Didn't matter if you were doing anything down by Catherby, or like you're at Sears Village, or pretty much anywhere that players existed. There were going to be people that were chatting in RuneScape and chatting in the public map, in the like public chat. But you just don't get that in FF14. And that's the big thing that's changed. People talk. Like I go to Limsa Laminza and people are talking. They're just talking in public. I know a lot of people in 14 like to have chats in like their FC chat and in what are they called? Link shells, which is basically like a private chat or like a private group chat. I get it. And it's a big part because FF14 doesn't have chat bubbles. So if people are talking in public chat, the public chat is going to be spammed by text, and it's going to be hard to like keep an eye on what's actually going on for what you're for what your conversation is. So it makes sense, but I don't like it. Like I get why it happens. I just don't like that it has to. I'm keep looking at the RuneScape map, and I'm just remembering all of the things that I did in all of these various locations, like in Fremenic province, doing rock crab farming up here. What do we have? We have the Caradon Desert. I never actually did like a big exploration going down to I think I did. No, I did the agility pyramid a couple of times. Um, what is this town? Nada. Some of this stuff I didn't explore. I think most of my exploration um of of this area was done, especially Barrows, was done on RuneScape private servers like Empscape and things like that. Man, I I should stop looking at this because it's gonna make me want to actually go and play old school RuneScape, and that takes too much time, and I've no, I don't, I definitely don't want to do that. As much as I want to do that, I don't. One MMO is way too many MMOs already. I don't need more of them. As much as it might be fun to waste hours and hours of my life playing RuneScape. The only problem I have with like going back and doing RuneScape is just it takes so long to do your leveling. Like obviously getting to the levels where you can do most of the content, it's fine. But like if you wanna get like max level and anything, like it takes so fucking long. I think if I remember correctly, the experience for 98 to 99 is the experience of everything up to 98, or it's some ridiculous number like that. So all of that time just merged together. But yeah, I'm enjoying it over on the US FF14 servers. And the ping, here's the thing. So this is why it's so stupid. FF14 every so often has some weird routing issues. I don't know why this only happens in 14 and no other games. I have a feeling there's something really fucked up about their network architecture, which is true in other ways, which we'll talk about in a bit. I was getting 230 milliseconds ping on the Oceanic servers, on my local servers. They're in Melbourne. It's not that far. I should at most be getting like 80 or 90. And for a little bit I actually was. But at some point it dropped down and then yeah, it just stuck at where it's at. So I went over to the JP servers and I got better ping over on JP. I think I was getting like 150 or so. And then on Aether, it was only 10 milliseconds worse than Oceanic. And if we're already playing at 220, an extra 10 isn't that big of a deal. Especially, you know, if you start using some of the not TOS friendly tooling that is available that totally doesn't exist, that nobody ever uses 14 Alexander, nobody ever uses No Clippy, no one's ever done that. Because the networking in FF14 is absolutely perfect, and if you play at 200 milliseconds ping, it is a perfectly playable game, and it doesn't break, you know, dual weaving, and in some cases triple weaving. The game is as playable at 200 as it is at 50. Except that's not true at all. That's not true at all. The network in this game is so fucked. It's not just the networking, it's the fact they FF14 has a lot of animation locking, and not animation locking of like things that make sense, like the Dragoon jumps, for example. You will have your skill bar animation locked in places where there shouldn't be animation locks. So there's, I think, like a 500 millisecond lock or something stupid. So if you have a 200 millisecond ping, you effectively have like a 700 millisecond. Maybe it's not that much. It's a lot more of a lock than your ping would indicate. But there are possibly, extensions that nobody actually uses that reduces some of that locking by sending packets that say your ping is a lot lower. And totally don't fix all the issues that the game has. And make the game a million times more playable. But no one would ever run them because that's against TOS. That's against TOS, and nobody breaks TOS when they play FF14. Nobody runs extensions. Nobody runs plugins, and you don't want to be an evil hacker, do you? Speaking of extensions, though, FF14 VR. Someone is actually working on a VR mod for this game. It is It is a little bit something. Is this the one with this? Yes, okay. This has the video on it. Let's have a look at this. I'm not going to play the audio because that will... I was playing the audio. that will blow out your eardrums, but I can't actually hear it. So, clearly some aspects of the game are a little bit funky right now. So, I think you can just walk around your player model. This is very, very early. Like, this is pre-alpha, and the alpha is coming out very soon. But running through dungeons like this also, you can play in third person, which seems weird to me. I don't know why you would play a VR game in third person, but yeah, you can do VR third person, and you get very close to these frogs and very close to the old lady as well. But first person, I think, is where this could be really, really cool. I don't know whether you would want to play it like this, but I think it is really cool. Was this person playing a fucking dragoon? Hold up. I think I saw a lance there. Yeah, oh my god, they're playing a dragoon in VR. Why would you do that to yourself? Like, if you use your jump ability, it's gonna throw you in the fucking air. I get bad motion sickness when I'm doing anything VR related. So I probably wouldn't want to do any dragoon, anything with like jumps or launches. So maybe like Dark Knight as well would be a problem. Red Mage would be a problem. Are there any other big launches? I guess Machinist does jump around a bit, but not that bad. Ninja does have its like AoE kunai that it jumps in the air for. Also, I guess it has its teleport, so teleports aren't that bad. It's the jumping back and forth that's a big problem. So this is like really, really cool. So this is made by the extremely talented modders, Marulu and Street Rat, who worked on Half-Life 2 VR and have been working on a 6 Degrees of Freedom VR mod for one of the best MMOs, FF14. And if you talk about this on Twitch, if you talk about this on YouTube, you might get banned. Because imagine not banning people for you know, aesthetic mods and things like that. No, they have to be... You can probably hear that I don't particularly like the way that the way that Square Enix approaches plugins. Ban all the plugins. Doesn't matter how little they actually do for the gameplay itself. Yeah. Also, considering that metaverse stuff doesn't matter, make VR mods for a lot of the big MMOs and see how even less people care about the metaverse. I really don't care about Meta. Meta lost a lot of money this year. Was it like 73% of their stock value or something ridiculous like that? Like an absolute insane amount of money. Yeah. Speaking of VR though, is it this one? What was there was a Twitter, here it is. So, considering it's 2022 now, it is a very important time if you're a giant weeb like I am, because now we have approached the year of Sword Art Online. So, there is this Twitter account that is posting dates for all of the events that happen in SAO. I don't know what they're going to do after the... yeah, now the game launched 2 days ago. I don't know what they're going to do with like events that happen during the story, because I don't know how many of those. I don't know how many of those actually have direct dates attached to them. So maybe we'll hear about Kirito clearing certain floors, things like that, but I'm not certain. But yeah, back in August 1st, the SEO beta test finally started. Think of the content that we have available in VR now. It's sad. It's so sad that we have this stupid metaverse nonsense and these dumb headsets and these fucking controllers you hold. We could have SAO. One day we might have SAO. That would be nice. One day. Possibly. Also, there was a in relation to this, someone sent me I think it was a post from Facebook, I want to say. Give me one sec. I'm going to open it. Because Oculus actually made... sorry, not Oculus. Made... Palmer of Oculus made a concept of something fun. Here we go. This VR headset can kill you if you die in a game, and was inspired by an anime. If you die in the game, you die in real life. If you wear the headset, the Oculus founder, Palmer created in honor of the Sword Art Online. There was a lot of really dumb comments on here from boomers who somehow managed to follow IGN, but don't actually know what Sword Art Online is. Because there was someone in here... Where is it? I think it's just completely gone now. Yeah. I can't think of a stupid example of someone IRL missing the point of a work of fiction. I'll say this about SEO, what I heard about George Orwell's 1984. It's a warning about the future, not an instruction manual. It's also a joke. It's a literal joke. What the fuck? The anime is all about the characters trying to get out of VR. They're trapped in without dying first. And all people on the outside trying to get them out too. So kind of miss the point of the story. Yes. Wait, what's this one? That's gnarly. Tone it down a bit, like a gaming chair that will slightly poke you in the back with a really sharp stick. Because there was someone in here who actually took it seriously, who thought this was an actual thing that existed. It was like, death row inmates shouldn't be playing video games. They should be put on the chair. I don't know if it's serious. It's so ridiculous that it sounded like satire. But it's also Facebook, and Facebook is full of boomers. So it's entirely possible that it was 100% serious. Yeah. But yeah, no. Buying a VR headset is not going to kill you. Sadly, we are not at that level of technology. Because, you know, Look, I'm going to be honest, right? If there is an SAO like technology that exists, and you know it's spread around that maybe it'll be dangerous if you use it, how many of us are actually gonna be like, you know what? I actually don't want to go to this VR world, even though it's gonna kill me. I think a lot of people are just gonna be like, you know what? If I'm gonna go out some way, this might as well be the way that I actually do it. It's not the longest life you're gonna have, but hey, maybe it's not that bad. Or maybe it is. Maybe you don't want to do that. Here's the question though: why was nobody in SEO a live streamer? Like, could you just not capture the game? Because here's what would actually happen with an MMO launch. It doesn't matter if it's a VR MMO or anything else like that. People are going to be streaming it on day one. Why was nobody streaming SAO? That didn't make any sense. Like, you would think that's something you would do. But no. Giant plot holes in the story. Actually, wait, when did the original web novel for SAO come out? Maybe live streaming wasn't that big, that popular of a thing back then. Okay. You know what? I'll give them... yeah. So the original light novel came out in 2009. The web novel came out years before that. Oh, a couple of years, not like a really long time. Okay, no, really long time. 2002. 2002, the original SEO web novel happened. 2009, there's no excuse for it not to be rewritten in the light novel, though. Because, like... While... streaming wasn't this, like, major thing back in 2009. It was in its early stages. And YouTube was well established at that point as well. So it's pretty it's pretty clear that like I think if you can say that YouTube exists and YouTube is a popular thing, it's pretty clear you can go from there to doing like live videos on there as well. Did Justin TV exist back then? Actually, wait. Justin TV. When did Justin TV exist? Um, Around the time of YouTube, actually. I don't know how big it was in Japan. So Justin TV eventually went on to become Twitch. Maybe it wasn't that big in Japan at all. That's very possible that it just, but there probably were some sort of streaming platforms in Japan back then. I'm just not 100% certain because YouTube didn't have streaming until much later. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure someone could have guessed, but also the original SAO light novel, original SAO web novel is a mess. It's not good. The original light novel is not good either. If you ever read SAO, you know how in the anime it feels like the pacing is a mess and they're like jump between events? Like, hey, we're on floor 1. Oh, we're on floor 2 now. Oh, we're on floor 70. Or like, what? Like, dumb jump. Like 25 or something. And you're like, what happened in all this time? Well, the answer is nothing. Nothing happened. Because Reki did not think of it at that time. So the pacing in the anime is just as bad as the pacing in the light novel, but I feel like the light novel does it a little bit better. For some reason, it feels less awkward in the context of writing. Maybe it feels more like a journal or something like that. Either way, whatever the reason is, yeah, it's a mess. It's not until when people start saying the SAO is actually bad that the light novel actually becomes good. It's when you get to the Leafa stuff, what is it called? Fairy Dance is the arc in the light novel. When you get to Fairy Dance and then Phantom Bullet, I think Phantom Bullet is where SAO actually becomes really good. Like actually like really, really good. Whether people liked the second season of the anime or not is another question. I thought it was really good, and I will stand by that. I just don't care what people's critical opinion of anime is at this point. Like there's a lot of people who sort of think their opinion on a series is way more important than it actually is. Like if you ever go to My Anime List or any like anime social media site where there's a review section, you'll notice that very quickly. Some of my favorite shows have been those like it's got a 6 out of 10, which is effectively a 1, because the scale on a lot of these sites never actually goes all the way down. Like the lowest rated things are like 5.5 because people just don't know the other side of the scale exists, I guess. I don't know. Like people, like a 5 is sort of treated as an unwatchable series where 5 should be like it's average. 5 is the middle point. 5 is average, or like it's not bottom of the barrel, that's for sure. But that's just the way it's been treated. But like my taste in anime are just like I watch things that I enjoy. I'm almost finished with Naruto. People can be like, Naruto bad, Naruto not good shonen. Watch Jujutsu Kaisen, watch Demon Slayer. I watch both and they're also great, but also Naruto's really good as well. I just watched Naruto, what is it called? The Last Naruto the Movie? Is that it? The Last Naruto the Movie. Yes. The Last Naruto the Movie, which is not the last Naruto the movie. The movie after that is the last Naruto the movie. That they called it the last because whatever. Because the next movie is technically like a Boruto movie. So it's the last Naruto movie. The next movie is the first Boruto movie. Anyway, I did not like the last. The last was not very good. There were so many things. Once again, you don't have to care about my opinion, but I'm gonna say it anyway. There were so many things in that movie that just bothered me. So the slice life stuff I think was actually the best part. If this was a slice life movie, it would have been 10,000 times better. So the first thing that bothered me is I'm gonna give you spoilers for the last, so like whatever, enjoy the spoilers. Movie came out 8 years ago. So at the start where Hinata is being captured by what's his name? He's such a forgettable villain. Tonari? Yeah, that guy. The antagonist of the movie, trying to capture Hinata. And when Naruto throws the Rasen Shuriken, which for some reason are now orange, I don't know why they became orange. It's not like he was infusing them with like Karama's chakra. They're just orange now rather than blue. So like that just happened. Or green. I don't know why they're orange. Anyway, they're orange now. So he threw the Rasen Shuriken and Hinata was dropped. Now, the early part of this movie starts with Hinata like knitting a scarf that she's gonna give to Naruto, and she's gonna tell Naruto that she loves him. All that fun stuff. Naruto doesn't end up taking the scarf because, or like, doesn't get given the scarf early on because he already has a scarf, and Hinata gets jealous, being like, who gave you the scarf? I don't know who gave him the scarf. Does someone else like him that gave him the scarf? Turns out at the end of the movie that his mum gave him the scarf. Like, it was from, like, not his mum gave him the scarf. His mum knitted the scarf before she died, and Naruto and Konohamaru found it in the third Hokage's possessions. So he was wearing that scarf. Hinata was being Hinata about it. So when Hinata was dropped, she forgot that she was a ninja and forgot that she could like meld chakra, because rather than putting her feet on the wall and walking up the wall, she got the scarf like hooked on a nail or something sticking out of the building, and was holding that while it was like breaking and going down. Literally all she could do is just put her feet on the wall and walk up. This is Naruto. You can walk on walls. You can walk on water. You can stand upside down on a tree. Why did you forget you could do that? Like, it didn't make any sense at all. So, then there was like 4 extra times throughout the movie where Hinata, I think she remade the scarf 3 times, and it was destroyed all those times as well. It was only until like right at the end when Naruto actually got given the scarf. And like that, Naruto wearing the scarf is like on all of the promotional material, so I presumed he would have the scarf at some point before the end of the movie. Also, literally the first time that he gets the scarf, they're doing some like weird color filtering as well, so you can't even see him wearing the scarf. Also, they show Sasuke here as if Sasuke was going to be a big part of the movie. He shows up for like 1 scene, and he's like, Naruto isn't here. The only person who can protect the Leaf Village is me. And then fucking punches a meteor. That's the other thing. So here's the plot. The plot of the movie. This is where I love it, actually. It went like full dumb. So the whole gist of the movie is Tonari is one of the descendants of Hagoromo's brother. The guy who went to the moon. So Hagoromo, the Sage of the Sixth Path, what was his brother? Hagoromo Otsutsuki. What was his brother's name? I forgot. Hamura. Yes. So, Hamura and Hagoromo sealed their mother Kaguya in the moon, and then Hamura went to the moon to make sure that Kaguya doesn't escape or something. But did a pretty shit job, because like she was just teleported to Earth during like the end of the movie. Anyway, at the end of the series. So Tonari is one of the descendants, one of the disciples of Hamura, and because of all of the fighting on Earth, Tonari was like, you know what? I'm gonna crash the moon into the Earth. That's actually the plot. So the movie starts with like extra meteorites come like hitting the Earth, and people are like, wait, why are there more meteors? This doesn't make any sense. And they realize the moon is getting closer. And where was I going with this? Right. Also, why did he, wait, so Tonari wanted to like capture Hinata to get her Byakugan to turn them into Tenseigan. I don't remember why. I don't know why he wanted that. I think he just wanted to kill everyone. Yeah, I think his goal was to just crash the moon into the earth, and that's all he wanted. He was a really weird and shallow villain. But here's where it gets fun. So Naruto, Hinata, Shikamaru, Sai, and Sakura, they went to go fight Tonari, and at some point they like during this like the early parts of the movie, they weren't just fighting this guy at his lair. His lair was on the moon, so they were fighting on the moon. And in the Naruto universe, the moon is hollow, and not only is the moon hollow, but but ninjas can breathe in space apparently. Yeah. So there was this bit. This was already dumb enough, but there was this bit where Naruto brought out Kurama to go and fight Tonari, and they were fighting on the surface of the moon. Okay, fair enough. Whatever. Kurama's just a chakra beast. Presumably, that means he can fight without oxygen. Also, yeah, the same is true for ninjas. Like, I get the whole like, you know, fighting underwater thing. Like, multiple people did that, but apparently space doesn't matter either. So, like, you can just go and fight in space, at least in this movie. So yeah, they fought on the surface of the moon. Also, the moon seems to just have, like, Earth-like gravity. So, yeah, it didn't actually seem like it was the moon. But it also, there was other dumb things. So, for some reason, don't know why, it didn't ever get explained, the village in the clouds has a giant laser cannon, that they were using to fire at the meteors. Why do they have a laser cannon? How did this happen? When did they get this? I don't know. But there's like two modes for the laser cannon. There is the meteorite, like, fire out a bunch of laser modes, which just so happens to hit all of the meteorites. And the Daikage was like, you know what? I want to blow up the moon. Like, that was his plan. His plan to stop the moon crashing into the Earth was blowing up the moon. Didn't think about any of the consequences for doing that. Doesn't matter. Just blow up the moon. It'll be fine. And, the only reason they didn't blow up the moon is because, like, some of the ninjas there that were, like, looking at the moon, looking at it with telescopes, were like, wait, I think Naruto and Kurama are fighting on the moon. And Daikage was like, fuck it, blow them up anyway. And everyone else, like, all the other Kage was like, no, let's not do that. Let's wait an hour or so and not blow up the moon. So ultimately they obviously won, didn't blow up the moon, and then the movie ended with the most contrived kiss scene I've ever seen. So there was any number of points throughout the movie they could have had a kiss scene, or they could have had a kiss scene at the wedding or something like that. No, the way they did it is so when they're escaping from the moon and going through these, like, portals created by crabs, once again, it's Naruto, it's weird. Naruto and Hinata were, like, gonna run out of time, the portal thingy was gonna be closed. So Naruto, like, basically used, like, a Rasengan to fire himself up in the air and then crashed through the ceiling, because they were going way too fast and they were gonna crash in the top of the cave. Broke through the top of the cave, and then while they were in the air and while they were falling to their deaths, that's when the kiss scene happened. Just out of nowhere. It's like, let's just do this now. But hey, at least Naruto finally realized that that Hinata liked him. It only took, what, 700 episodes, and he didn't really figure it out. He just, like, the only reason he figured it out is because he was in a genjutsu that made him, like, relive all of his childhood. That's the only reason he worked it out. And he's like, wait. When Hinata said that she loved me, Maybe she didn't mean that she loved me like a hamburger. Maybe she actually meant that she wanted to fuck. Wait, that makes sense. It's so fucking. It was so dumb. And the movie ultimately ends where the next movie begins with Boruto and Himawari. Um, the last was not very good. It wasn't even like it wasn't even bad. Like the Boku no Hero movies are bad, or like I was gonna say the Dragon Ball Super movies, but they're actually really good. Hmm. I guess there's the exception for the most recent one. What's it called? Superhero. Dragon Ball Superhero, something like that. Uh that one, it was a mess. So that one and the Boku no Hero movies, what they all have in common is they have incredible animation, shallow as fuck villains, and terrible writing. But the incredible animation makes up for it. There are some ridiculous fight scenes in all of those movies. It doesn't matter that at the end of one of the Boku no Hero movies, Bakugo is given one for all. And then there's a scene where I'm just gonna show you it because I've already spoiled it. Bakugo one for all. There is a scene at the end of that movie where both Deku and Bakugo have one for all at the same time, and somehow Bakugo's body just instantly adapts to using it, no problem whatsoever. Then you have the new. There is going to be spoilers here for superhero. You have Dragon Ball Super superhero, superhero. What's it called? Orange Piccolo, where Piccolo gets this new form, but the movie is so badly written that they introduced the form before introducing Gohan's new form. So Piccolo got this new form, and then it was instantly retconned, like instantly destroyed, and nobody cared about how powerful it is. So we have Gohan Beast Form, which is basically a Dragon Ball OC. Like, that's what this is. This is, hey look, it's Super Saiyan 5. He's got silver hair now. That's literally what Gohan Beast is. You get dumb things like that, and that's all great. But Naruto the Last doesn't have that incredible animation. It's not bad, but like there are some episodes of Naruto with god tier animation. Like obviously you can go all the way back to early Naruto with Rock Lee and Gaara. You can have the best animation in early Shippuden, the scene where Shikamaru is playing shogi. But if you want a fight scene, you can go further ahead to something like the fight with the masked dude. The masked dude in the Akatsuki. What is his name? Naruto I'm working on a new keyboard right now, so I'm making a bunch of mistakes when typing. Akatsuki. What was his name? Wait, was it Kakuzu? Yes, wait. Yes, Kakuzu. The fight with Kakuzu and Kakashi. Or you have the fight with Kakashi and Obito. Or you have various forms of the Madara fight. All of these have god tier animation. Or actually, wait, the first big fight between Naruto and Sasuke at the end of original Naruto. All of these fights have incredible animation. And then there's the last Naruto the movie, where it's just not great, but it just sort of is. Like it's it's depressing what that movie could have been. Um, if they firstly had good writing, but even just had better animation. I wouldn't have been complaining about it if the animation was good. Like I hate the story in all of the Boku no Hero movies. Anytime there's a new Boku no Hero movie that comes to cinemas, I watch it because I know like the regular series always has great animation and the movies are even better. And the same is true for Dragon Ball. Now that I've seen a terrible Dragon Ball movie, I'm still going to watch them all because Super had great animation. Super also had a good story. Resurrection F had great animation. I was just going to say Frieza's theme. Frieza, 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 Frieza. If you've not heard Frieza's theme, it's called F. Go watch it. It's fucking great. Or go listen to it. Then you had the Broly movie. Broly was also very good. The problem with the Broly movie is they hadn't really worked out what they were going to do with 3D animation yet. So Broly was a mix between 2D and 3D, and I don't think it didn't work as well as I would like. So Super did the same thing, but I think Super only did 3D backgrounds. I think. Or maybe it might have been a while since I've watched Super, and maybe it was just as bad as Broly swaps. But the big problem with Broly swaps is the animation style in that 2D style was so distinctive. Like if you saw any shot from that movie, you would notice it. Dragon Ball Super Broly. Like it's very, very clearly it's very clearly from Broly. Like this, for example. Like they changed the style a lot for it. And the swap between 2D and 3D it didn't work. Whereas Superhero was entirely 3D. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work. But seeing the movie in cinema, it worked great. Like it was great. They obviously had to rework some of the model. Here's the problem with 3D and Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was designed in the context of 2D animation, where, for example, Dragon Ball has the Mickey Mouse problem, where no matter which direction Mickey Mouse is facing the camera, Mickey Mouse ears. No matter which way Mickey Mouse is facing the camera, his ears are always going to be in the same how would you say it? Perspective. Here we go. Here's a great example of it. So whether he's face on, which looks very cursed, whether he's side on, it's always in the same position. When you have a character like Goku, it has the exact same thing, where Goku's hair will always face in the exact same direction, regardless of where the camera is actually facing. When you don't do that, it looks really off. This is why no matter what you do, a real life Mickey Mouse poster, like a model or something like that, is always going to look weird. And as I said, the same is true for Goku. Same is true for Vegeta as well. So I believe they actually had to redraw some of the frames to make sure that things like that line up. Also, just redesign the characters so they fit properly within a 3D context. Whereas other characters designed in the context of 3D don't have this problem. Now, the thing with Mickey is that they always want to have the ears being a very distinctive part of his character, regardless of where he's actually looking. So that's why he's like that. But it is a problem that other characters will tend to face as well, especially older character designs and designs trying to be very distinctive. Other times character designers are just lazy and don't actually care. Like, you know what? I'm just going to draw the hair once, and it's going to be the same no matter what I'm doing. And that's that. I have talked about nothing on my list of topics, haven't I? I've talked about like 3 things. I'm going to take a short break, and we'll talk about something else. McDonald's gaming chair. That's not a sentence I thought I'd ever hear myself saying. But, yeah, that's a thing that exists. McDonald's McCrispy gaming chair has a fry holder and a sandwich warmer. 2 fries, 2 serious. What a tagline, Tom's Hardware. I love it. So the UK arm of McDonald's is giving away a gaming chair. I believe it's giving away 4 gaming chairs? I thought it was multiple, not just 1. Maybe I am mistaken. To celebrate its new game-changing chicken burger, the McCrispy. and we're not sure if we're loving it. Okay, you know, I'll get back to criticizing the chair in a bit. Let's see what it actually does. The giveaway was announced on the McDonald's UK Facebook page with a video showcasing the yellow and black racing style design, as well as its garish and gimmicky additions such as a fry holder, a hot box to keep your McCrispy warm during gameplay, a stain-proof treatment, which this will need if you're eating greasy food while sitting in it, and slots for 2 of your favorite dips. Only 2 dips? I'm like a open all of the dips kind of guy. I have like 4 dips open at once. Let's have a look-see. I'm sorry, did I say... The McCrispy Ultimate Gaming Chair, featuring perfectly crafted fries holder. It's only perfectly crafted, unless there are other gaps there. It seems like it's only perfectly crafted for large. A hot box to keep your McCrispy warm during gameplay. Now, what this box will actually be used for is for marijuana. And then a stain-proof leather treatment so no spills or stain. Wait, which sauce to go? It's sweet and sour and ketchup. That's not a bad choice. This is so stupid. Win the McCrispy gaming chair. Whoever wins this chair, that chair is going to be worth so much money. Do not... Okay, guy, whoever wins this chair, do not use the chair. Keep the chair and hold it. Don't sell it instantly. Hold it. This chair, new in box, is going to be worth shitloads of money for stupid people who want to buy it. Stupid people likely being a YouTuber. A YouTuber is going to pay you a lot of money. I'm not going to be that YouTuber, but a YouTuber is going to pay you a lot of money, or a Twitch streamer. Someone is going to want this chair. Someone is going to want this chair, and you will make a lot of money from it. So, the chair itself is fucking ugly. Like, there's no other way to describe it. Not only is it bright yellow, not only that, but also, all the way down, it just says McCrispy all over it. Also, is that 2 different shades of yellow? Or is that just the background looking weird? Because I think the shade of yellow on the cup holder, or wait, is there a cup holder? Wait, is there a cup? Wait, so it has a fry holder, 2 sauce holders, and a fucking burger holder, but no cup holder. McDonald's, what are you doing to me? Oh, I hope it has a cup holder. It's just not being listed. I really do. That would be so stupid if it doesn't. But yeah, this chair is ugly as hell. But I kind of want it. I don't want to sit on it because gaming chairs are disgusting. It's got these stupid, like, I hate bucket chairs. I've had multiple bucket chairs in the past. They're not comfortable. I've used bucket chairs in many contexts. They're not comfortable. I don't know why people keep buying them. Buy a normal office chair like this guy. This one, not this one specifically. This one's falling apart. But buy a normal office chair. It's going to be cheaper. It'll feel better. it might not have a burger holder, and it might not have a chip holder, but most of your chairs probably don't have that either. So, you're not really losing out on much. If this chair doesn't get flipped for less than $1,000, I'll be very surprised. For more than $1,000, I'll be very surprised. Fake clickbait product made for viral ads. Why are you saying the fake clickbait product made for viral ads? It's literally a thing that they're giving away. What are you talking about? It's literally a real product. It's a real thing that you can quote unquote, I would say win. As I said, it's not a thing you ever want to sit on, but it is a thing that you want to sell. The terms state there is no cash alternative to the prize, suggesting that it is indeed priceless. Look, you don't want a cash alternative, because this thing is going to hold its fucking value. As I said, if it stays in box, it's going to be a very expensive, stupid chair. So, look, but the only problem here is it's only available for people in England, Scotland, and Wales. You can't, like, it's not even happening in, like, the US or Australia or anywhere else. Just in those 3 places. So, I hope that one of the London YouTubers win it or something stupid like that. I think it would be funny. Or better yet, I hope one of the London YouTubers buy it, because that would be fucking hilarious. But, yeah, that's dumb. But I want it. Speaking of things that are dumb, but I want it. Actually, no, I don't really want it, actually. 8K gaming is becoming this thing that is, like, being marketed by the GPU companies. So, 4090 8K. So, somewhere on the product page for the 4090, at least it did say, I don't know if it does now, 8K. Yeah, 8K HDR gaming. You can game at 8K if you play Stardew Valley. Like, you can play, like, relatively modern, like, 3, 4, 5-year-old games at 8K at, like, 30 FPS on max settings. So, like, it's not unplayable, but there's a LTD video on this that does this really well. The difference between 4K and 8K, because games are not made with 8K in mind. The problem with upping your resolution is they're not upping the texture quality. There are no games that are shipping with, like, 4K or 8K textures, so it doesn't matter if you have a higher resolution, it's gonna look exactly the same. The only difference is you will avoid having to do, like, anti-aliasing and things like that. So I don't care about 8K being a thing that you can, like, theoretically do. Plus the fact that, like, 8K displays, 8K monitor, expensive. Where's the price? Here we go. Here's a Dell 8K monitor. This is US pricing, by the way. Not Australia pricing. $3,969.99. That's very expensive. That's more than my first car was. That is so expensive. Maybe when you can get these displays under what, $1,000, someone will care. We're only just getting to the point where 4K is entering the, firstly, reasonable to actually drive, but secondly, reasonable to actually buy. So you can get 4K displays now. They're obviously not the best 4K displays, but you can get 4K displays for a couple $100. Like $260 for this one. This is probably early Black Friday sales though, so do keep that in mind. There are displays under $1,000. Like, you can do 4K now reasonably. I don't care about 4K on Linux because scaling is broken. Like, it just doesn't work properly on X. It works a little bit over on the Sway side, but I don't want to have to do scaling for stuff. I'd much rather just not waste that extra that extra screen and just go with what I'm using because it's gonna be fine. So most gamers, let's look at those recent Steam hardware survey and see what most gamers are actually playing on. Because I guarantee it's not 4K, and I definitely guarantee it's not 8K. I would be very surprised if it's even 1440p. Wow, look at that. It's not even 1440p. So, most gamers on Steam are playing at 1920 by 1080. It is going down. Granted, it is going down. Some people are slowly moving up to 1440p. I think 1440p is going to be, in like 5 years, 1440p might end up replacing 1080. But I don't see 4K becoming this thing. This one. This one is the 4K we're looking at. I don't see, because that's ultra wide. I don't see this becoming a major thing anytime soon. Because most people just want to, especially considering the top GPU on Steam is still the fucking 1060. Most gamers just want their games to play well. So they're going to keep the lower resolution and then just like go from that. The 2060 is taking its place very soon though, which is actually kind of surprising. Because they're both growing still. But the 2060 is growing quicker. So I wouldn't be surprised if but the 3060 is growing even. I know why. Because the 2060, when did the 2060 come out? Did the 2060 come out during the GPU shortage? Nvidia. Oi. 2060. Because that might be why the 2060 didn't replace the 1060. 20 series. Okay, no, it came out before. So it came out in 2018. But during that period, the 1060 was still, like, very popular. So it seems like a lot of people have just straight up skipped past the 2060, or are sitting on the 1060, skipped past the 2060, and are going to the 3060. I kind of expect within a couple of Steam hardware surveys, because the 4060 hasn't been announced yet, and probably won't be a thing for another, like, 6 or so months. So by that time, I wouldn't be surprised if the 3060 ends up becoming the top card on here. I kind of hope that one of the, AMD actually moves a bit up this list, because right now, yeah, AMD cards, literally the top thing for AMD is integrated AMD graphics, which is really sad. When it comes to like the 570 is one of the next popular cards. Vega 8 graphics is Vega 8. What is that? What is Vega 8? Is that 1600? Vega 8. That's the fourth. Oh, that's the 4000, 5000 Once again, it's fucking integrated GPUs. And then, like, when you get into, like, 6600, 6700, you're down to, like, 0.3. There's a storm coming. There's a storm coming. Oh, no! The raft! I couldn't help myself. Yeah, it's summer here, and we're getting a lot of summer, late spring. I don't know seasons. It's hot now. I've got the air conditioner on. You probably can't hear it because it's not very loud in this room. But yeah. What was I saying? GPUs, right? Something about 8K gaming. Yes, 8K gaming is dumb. I think the only place where 8K actually makes sense is VR. VR makes sense because 8K, the display is going to be so close to your eyes, you're actually going to notice. It's the same reason why 4K phones are stupid. This is 1080p. 1080p for a phone is basically the top that you would ever sensibly care about, because why would you go above 1080p? You literally cannot see the pixels. Like, it's not the matter of the human eye can't see above 4K or can't see There's definitely a storm coming. The human eye can't see above 1080. The human eye can't see above 4K. It's literally, the pixels are so fucking small that you won't be able to see it unless you're looking at it like this, which in most contexts, is too close to the screen to properly focus on it anyway. So if we're talking about, like, there's this thing where, like, gaming TVs are becoming popular. Like, I say popular. They're being talked about a lot by gaming YouTubers, and they're trying to be popularized. When we're talking about, like, an 80-inch TV, 100-inch TV, yeah, 4K, 8K makes sense. When we're talking about, like, a cinema display or a projector, absolutely, 8K makes sense. But for gaming, the Steam hardware survey doesn't lie. People surprisingly have 6-core CPUs now. I think it's because AMD is, like, picking up quite a bit, but they actually dropped off surprisingly. I'm surprised that AMD leveled off at 30% because this was, like, constantly growing, like, month on month for quite a while. This makes sense because Nvidia just released their new cards. I really hope that going into this next generation of GPUs, we do see a bit more competition. Like, not just, hey, AMD is in last place, it is what it is. Hopefully AMD's cards do end up selling better. They're obviously not going to sell better than the Nvidia cards, because Nvidia is, like, that's where people are focused on right now. That's the big thing. I really hope I don't lose power. That's the big thing right now. But hopefully, especially with AMD being a lot more aggressive with their pricing. So, what is it called? The 7900 XTX. This is their 4090 competitor. Oh wait, is the other way around? Is the XTX the 4090 competitor or the XT? Which one's the more expensive one? Sorry. They've named them XTX and XT. The XTX on average is like 10% slower than a 4090. I know that LTT did a video on their numbers. Like, they obviously not perfect numbers, but they're like extrapolated out numbers. And if we're seeing, like, even if it's like 20% less performance, but for 50% of the price, I think that a lot of people the people who don't want absolute top of the top, but do want, like, really good gaming for a surprisingly good price, are going to probably jump down. Because look at this. 4090s, 3,000 Australian dollars. Some of these are more expensive than my first car. My first car was like 37. Yeah, 3,700. Not 37,000. 3,700. But if we look at I think the recommended recommended retail price? That's it. 7900 XTX. I think it was like 900. Now, keep in mind, they're obviously not going to be selling at the MSRP because it's MSRP, and MSRP doesn't mean anything. But if we're seeing, even like 20 or 30% higher than that, like they sell for like $1,400 US, it's still a fucking great deal. Like, obviously, it's not a great deal if you care about dollar performance. But if you're looking for basically top of the line without top of the line dollar, the 7900 XTX seems like it's gonna do it. The only problem, the big problem with the AMD cards, at least in the context of creators, not Linux creators, because the drivers on Linux are bad for Nvidia. But if the drivers on Linux were good for Nvidia, I would buy an Nvidia card, because Nvidia just makes the better creator GPUs. You have both CUDA and NVENC. And that by itself is enough to sell any content creator. CUDA for your your rendering, and then NVENC as your encoder. Now AMD does have their own encoder, that I'm forgetting the name of. Oh, they're also working on some new encoder stuff. What is their encoder called? The AMF encoder? Yes. Something like that. I don't believe you can use... Can you use it out of the box? No, you can't. Okay, you can use it out of the... I don't think I'm actually Am I using it? No, I think I am. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. Anyway, NVENC is just a higher quality encoder. But maybe we're gonna see that change because AMD is a platinum sponsor for OBS now. Can we find a page? OBS, AMD OBS sponsor. There's where? Okay, here we go. Diamond, sorry, not platinum. I forgot how the tiers work. So that puts them in their like top tier of sponsors. So hopefully this means that AMD is trying to like actually compete with NVENC. Now, they don't really have a solution for CUDA. Yeah, they don't really have a solution for CUDA, which doesn't really help. But it's not like CUDA is used for most video editing on Linux anyway, so it doesn't matter for me. But I would like a NVENC level of encoder for my video capture. Absolutely. The other thing for the regular gamer that NVIDIA just does better is ray tracing. Like, we're getting to the point now where the consumer level cards, not the prosumer like 4090 and all that nonsense, the consumer level cards, if you drop down your settings a bit, can actually do ray tracing. Like, I will not be surprised if on the 4060 and 4070 at 1080p at like medium high settings, they are perfectly capable ray tracing cards. Because I'm pretty sure the 3060... Oh god, the thunder is getting worse. I'm pretty sure the 3060 is already playable with ray tracing, if not good. Okay, that's... Okay, no, it is actually... Sorry, correct me. I'm actually mistaken. My information is a bit outdated. Okay, no, it's still not good. At 1440p, 30 FPS, you're getting... I don't know what settings they're playing at, though. High settings. Okay, high settings. So if you're playing a couple-year-old game on with ray tracing enabled, with dropping your settings down to medium high, I think the 4060, 4070 are going, then probably like 4060 Ti or 4070 Ti, whatever ends up coming out. I think ray tracing is going to be a thing for the regular people. Now, obviously not max settings. That's like 4090 nonsense. But like the regular sort of settings, I think is going to be perfectly capable for ray tracing, which is going to put a dent into AMD because, yeah, AMD's ray tracing performance, even with these new cards, isn't good and isn't really getting that much better. Like, I think they're seeing quote-unquote big improvements because the numbers they had before were not good in the first place. I think we're just under, like, on these top-tier cards, just getting to the point of, like, console playability, which is, yeah, maybe one day I'll get to experience ray tracing, but I'm not, I play, like, 10-year-old JRPGs, so, like, ray tracing wasn't exactly going to be up my alley anytime soon, but it would be nice if I get around to playing a game like the new Dead Rising, Dead Island, for example, which I only found out is just is coming out next year, like literally today. Because AMD is doing. Here's the thing: if you want to buy a new GPU, AMD is doing a promotion right now, where they are giving away keys to Dead Island 2, and there was another game in the bundle as well, the Callisto Protocol. Yeah. So if you want either of those games and you're looking for a new GPU, then AMD is going to serve you, which is nice because hey, they're new games and the price of the GPUs didn't go up. So you're getting these free games, and if you're going to play them anyway, it saves you maybe like, $100 or so, which is cool. How are we going to be able to play these games on the like 6000 series? Good question. I don't have an answer for you. But it should be fine. Should be fine. When I buy a new GPU, eventually I'll stop talking about GPUs on this podcast, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for a little bit. I'm still waiting on the Black Friday deals. I've been waiting, like, to see if there's any, like, early deals that happen, all of that fun jazz. So far, there hasn't. There is a good deal on a 6700 XT. I think it's, like, 600. 6750. 6750. 67. No, it's the six. Wait, that's the regular. That's the regular 6700, not the XT version. My bad. XT. Here we go. So there, yeah, $600 for the like lowest tier, 6700 XT, and the top tier is 830. 6750. We're closing in more closer to $1,000-ish. Honestly, if I was gonna buy this card, I would just buy this card. Like, there's no point not spending the extra $20 and moving up to the 6750 XT. But I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to go with, like, I don't know, one of these cards in here. And then finally, get good performance. Get triple the performance. Double, triple. One of the double or triple the performance in FF14, which would be nice. Actually, one thing it would be nice for is FF13. So I'm playing through 13 right now, and 13 notoriously has a really shitty PC port. And it's very much kept with the style over on the Linux side as well. It's a little bit funky. The main issue it has is the frame rate is terrible. Like, it probably averages around 50, sometimes it's 60, until you turn the camera, and it's like, hey, let's just drop down to 10 now, just for a moment. So there's a lot of stuttering the game has, and it's not, like, unplayable. Like, you can play it just fine, and the combat system works well enough where a little bit of stuttering is fine. It's not real-time like a Devil May Cry game. It's real-time like FF7 is. So you have this like pseudo-turn-based system, and you have... it's a pseudo-turn-based system, basically. We have like a combat timer, and enemies will attack whenever, but obviously they have their own timer. But it's not like you have to worry about like dodging attacks and moving around, things like that. So it's a workable kind of issue. But I would like to brute force the problem not to happen, and I would like to be able to use the full refresh rate of my display, because yeah, I play 14 usually at 120 or so ish. Unless I'm in Limsa Laminza, where I play at 60, because it's Limsa Laminza, and that's where all of the RPers hang out. Yeah, and Limsa Laminza always has a lot of people. yeah, you'd probably address that with our mods by just hiding the people. But I like the atmosphere of Limsa. It's fun, and I like the RPers and the ERPers. That's one thing I'm definitely I'm excited for. Not ERP. I'm excited for like data center transfer stuff, because data center transfer didn't matter on Oceanic because there was one data center. But if we data center transfer in US and we go over to, like, let's say, hang out in Balmung or something like that, well, that might be a bit of a different experience. So yeah. Also, I guess we'll end it off with I've got a new keyboard. So this is look at that. It doesn't show up super great in the camera, but it's got RGB. Well, I guess this isn't RGB. This is R, but it does have RGB. Let's put it on mode where it's easy to see. This mode, RGB. I'm not a big fan of. I could probably work with this. What I'm not a big fan of is one's like this, where it's like constantly moving. I find that to be really distracting because I can see my keyboard out the corner of my eye, and I tend to get distracted by a lot of stuff. So I just like to keep it on R, and then yeah, we're good there. I guess I could change the color, but considering that my mouse is also red, and I guess my light back there is also red now, I might as well just keep it red. I like red. Red's nice. But yeah, this is a Red Dragon. So it's on the keyboard. What is it? It is a Red Dragon K618. The Horus K618. And it's got a bunch of fun things on it. One of those fun things is this volume knob. Now, this volume knob isn't some proprietary, like, software Windows nonsense. This maps to XF86 volume up and volume down. So I can use this on Linux. And not just use it on Linux, it's bound the same way it was already bound on my other keyboard. So it just works exactly like it should. This also, being a gaming keyboard, has, like, it's got these macro buttons along the top that you can program to do whatever you want. I'm not a big macro guy, so it doesn't really matter to me. These little buttons here are your media buttons. There's not as many as my other one. I don't have a... Oh, no, I do have a play pause. Oh, it's just a merged play pause. Okay, that's fine. I'll just have to rebind stuff then. But I could have gotten this as like a 10 keyless. I like my numpads because I like to have my numpad as a, like a, how would you describe it? A macro bay, basically. I guess that's the only macro bay I use. I use this as bindings for like OBS and things like that. Now, this is also not a cherry switch keyboard. I have famously, if you go to my channel, it's actually like one of my biggest videos, famously said how I don't like mechanical keyboards. This is not your original early days mechanical though. So that video has, oh, it's not that popular, it's a little more popular, 21,000 views. This is a low profile linear red. I'll show you. low profile mechanical switch. This is a switch that I had been very interested to try out for quite a while. So your tradition, I guess the blues will work. They're basically the same. There's just different colors and different weights and things like that, and actuation points. From the outside, they look the same. So this is your conventional mechanical switch. They are usually on your gaming keyboards, things like that, your whatever keyboard you have. This is the newer low profile mechanical switch. They are 6 millimeters thinner, and then there's also like another optical version as well. Now, a lot of keyboards will use these low profile mechanical switches, but will put traditional keycaps on them. So they're certainly thinner than your traditional keyboard, like 6 or so mils, but they're not that much thinner. What the Red Dragon does, and what this keyboard is a clone of I want to say Logitech C15. C915, sorry, 915. Is it 915? Yes, it's a clone of this keyboard. Show me a good picture. Here we go. This is the Logitech 915, and you can see it's got these very, very thin keycaps, and the exact same is true on the Red Dragon K618. These keycaps are not that common. They're not impossible to buy, but they're certainly not as common as the traditional ones. Low profile mechanical cap. You can definitely find them. Yeah, you can definitely start finding them on places like Etsy. So presumably you'll be able to find them in other places like Amazon, things like that. It's not as bad as it was a couple of years ago. If I'd bought this a couple of years ago and I ever wanted to like change out keycaps, things like that, basically you're kind of stuck and there's not much you can do. But considering that these are making their way out and there are actually devices using these switches now, it's getting to the point where I can reasonably use a mechanical keyboard. The problem I had with traditional keyboards is they're just way too high. You need a wrist rest for them. I know some people are fine with them, but I like my hand being as close to the desk as possible. And that's what my KC Cherry Stream did really, really well. It is very thin, and I love it. And this new keyboard is only a touch thicker. Maybe like... I've not checked it, but maybe it's not really thicker at all, actually. This is a very unscientific way of measuring it. Let's do it the other way, so they're actually the correct side. It's maybe, I would say, 2 or 3 mils higher, which isn't a major deal. I can accept that. And I think this, I've only just started using it today, so I can't really give my long-term thoughts on it. But I think I'm going to stick with this, and I'm gonna use these low profile switches going into the future. Now, the main reason I switched isn't because I just wanted to buy a new keyboard. There's actually 2 reasons. Firstly, you might notice that this KC Cherry Stream is missing a keycap. It's here. This has been breaking off for a while. Now, you can get them back on, but remounting a mechanical, a scissor switch is a pain in the fucking ass. So I have not done it. The other reason I haven't done it is the reason I bought the keyboard. So I bought the keyboard before this key broke. I was playing FF14. I was doing a raid. I held down the W key and I didn't go forward. So there are some points where if you actuate the key, it wasn't resetting it. So it wouldn't actually let you press it again. That was really annoying. And I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It had started to become a problem a while ago. And I've wanted to try these low profile linear switches for a long time anyway. So this gave me sort of a good opportunity to actually do it. Maybe in the future I'll try out that Logitech keyboard this is a clone of, because from my understanding that is a much nicer keyboard. Like, this is not a bad keyboard in any definition of the term. But this Logitech one is also like $400 in Australia. So like that's a lot for a keyboard. But it's well built, and I love Logitech. Like I have like multiple Logitech mice. I am very much a Logitech shill, and I'd be happy to use a Logitech keyboard as well. Maybe in the future that'll happen, but for now I'm gonna keep with the Red Dragon, and maybe we'll see if Red Dragon lives up to the hype, because this is a company that, you know, it came onto the market sort of out of nowhere and made these cheap clones of a lot of devices that people wanted to use, and they gained a lot of popularity for it. So I want to see if that hype's actually real, and, you know, it's worth the money, or if I should have gone and like spent the money and bought something a bit nicer. We'll see what happens, and yeah. We are closing in, or just past, the 2-hour mark. Actually, one thing I'll do is I want to show you these new lights. So these are, I think they were like a TikTok trend, because if you look up if you look up lamp, like RGB lamp on Amazon, you get 100 different clones of these. I think it's like some thing where people are lighting up their corners or something like that, but they work really well as a way to like light up the edge of a cabinet. I'm thinking of possibly getting another one to put on my what do you call it? Bookshelf. Just so there's like, just so all of the cabinets there are lit up in that way. But they're not super bright, but I think they do add a bit of interesting, how would you say, like look to the background, especially if I turn the light off. I think like that, they actually look pretty cool. Now, I won't record regular videos like this just because of the fact that my camera's not great at doing low light stuff. It's not great at fucking focusing on my face either. Focus on my damn face. Oi, you fucker. Focus on the damn face. What are you doing? Okay, now we're good. Yeah, my camera's not great at doing low light stuff, so I don't know whether I would actually want to do that. But I think they do look pretty cool. I'm going to change the color. There is a bunch of fun modes here. So that's yellow, and that looks greenish to you. That's red. That's green. That's another different, that's like a cyan. That's a purple. That kind of looks purpley. Blue. Blue actually does look blue. Another blue, and that's white. Oh, that actually is white. Huh. Maybe that would look cool with, I don't know if that would look good with the lights on. The only reason I went red is because I tend to like having my shots being, like, I have a lot of orange light coming into my face because I feel like that makes me look not deathly ill, and the red kind of makes sense with that. The blue, I've tried the blue once, and it seemed really off. But my favorite mode that's not just a color is like one of these modes. So they actually have a microphone in them and will react to my voice. Like there's this mode as well. This mode as well, where it's sort of like a visualizer. I find that one to be really annoying though. And then you have this one where it does the same thing as the first one, but starts in the center. I think that's super cool as well. But I will probably just keep them on a single color, and yeah. Maybe when I eventually get my new camera, that will definitely be a lot better for doing low light stuff, I will actually do stuff with the lights off like this. Actually, if I clip this and anyone sees it, let me know if you think I should put another one on the bookshelf itself. I'm thinking of doing so, just so it's not that, like, one thing that looks out of place. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I did have another lamp I was going to put up there as well, but I didn't think that one looked anywhere near as good. So I'll repurpose that one for another reason. But for now, this is the look that my videos are going to have, I guess, with the lights on. And maybe I'll stream like this, actually. I think this could work for a gaming stream, because I would have my camera be like small down in the corner, and I think it would look pretty cool. Anyway, that is going to be it for me. Next week, there's probably going to be a guest. I've not arranged anyone, but there probably maybe is a guest if I do so. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. My main channel is Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos and all that fun stuff. I've got Brody Robertson Plays, where I do my gaming streams. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, the video version can be found over on the YouTube. If you're watching the video version, the audio version can be found on any of your favorite podcast platforms, and there's an RSS feed and all of that fun stuff. So, yeah, go and check that out, and if you like it, then go and like it and all that fun stuff, and do please subscribe. So, that's going to be it for me, and, yeah, I'm out.